Hello and what is going on, lovely people of the internet? It is Hootmoney here with another video for you guys today. Today we're going to be talking about the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin, macroeconomics, and what exactly I think is going to be happening in the entire cryptocurrency space in general. So as you guys know, Bitcoin is heavily tied to inflation. So typically when inflation goes up a lot, like we're currently seeing under the current macroeconomic climate, Bitcoin tends to perform very, very well. And that's why we have seen some parabolic price movements in Bitcoin over the past year and a half. Now, we did get a mass liquidation event last night, and this is something that is actually very, very normal in something like cryptocurrency because lots of leverage. It's very unregulated. It's still in its early stages, and with all of this, it's very easy for these things to get manipulated out of control and force mass liquidations. If anyone here does day trading in cryptocurrency, you'd know that sometimes there is a weird candle, right, where it's just shoots down or shoots up to quickly liquidate over leveraged shorts or longs. This was just same thing happened today, last night, but on a much longer scale. So we have to take in all of this to consideration when investing, but it also allows us to snipe up deals when the market is less over leveraged like it is right now. So towards the end of the video, we'll talk about some deals that I am personally looking at, but first we have to just go over everything, do some technical analysis on Bitcoin as well as what we think altcoin season is going to be doing over the next few years, a few months. my apologies. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So we're going to pull this up here. We have to talk about these three things that affect the macroeconomics of the world right now, right? This does not only affect cryptocurrency, but it affects the S&P 500 and other markets as well. And this is going to be heavily influenced on Bitcoin's price and just crypto in general. So the first thing we have to talk about is the Omicron variant, correct? We've been through multiple different variants of the virus, correct? Omicron is nothing new. This is not helping our markets right now, right? Because it slows down economic growth. But at the end of the day, we have the tools to deal with this and we have recovered. We saw the same thing with the Delta variant. So the Omicron variant is not something that is particularly worrying me right now. If anything, the way that the government deals, the US government in particular, I can't speak for other ones, but the US government in particular will deal with the Omicron variant through stimulus, right? I mean, that's how they've dealt with other things. Obviously, vaccinations and other stuff helps as well, but if we're just thinking on a monetary level, right? Monetary policy level, they deal with this thing through stimulus, right? And lowering interest rates. And I have proof that interest rates are reacting positively to this. Or by positive, I mean they're going down. So interest rates are coming down ever since Omicron. So we'll go over that in a second. The next thing we want to talk about here is the U.S. debt ceiling. Now, this is very important. Now the government, the Senate and the House are in talks about the U.S. government debt ceiling, right? So every 5 years or so, the debt ceiling needs to be raised. What the debt ceiling is essentially the amount of debt the U.S. government can take out to fund their enormous spending policies, such as the previous infrastructure bills. U.S. government loves to spend money. They can't raise enough money through taxpayers alone. You know, when we're paying our income taxes, that's not enough for the U.S. government to spend. And because of this, they just build up the federal deficit and it creates more inflation. So the two things that we've talked about so far, the Omicron variant and the U.S. debt ceiling, they're both inflation causing, right? So the U.S. is probably going to raise the debt ceiling. And because of that, Bitcoin will likely react very, very positively to that news because inflation, Bitcoin is correlated to inflation. All right. So that makes sense. And then we have to talk about the Federal Reserve tapering and interest rates. We already hinted on interest rates actually coming down a bit since the news of the Omicron variant. Tapering. Now the Federal Reserve will be tapering their asset purchases. They mentioned that inflation is no longer transitory. This is not as good for the macroeconomic climate, especially for something like Bitcoin, which is heavily tied to inflation. So with the tapering of their asset purchases, essentially what their asset purchases are is just buying up these treasury bonds, right? And by buying up treasury bonds, it lowers interest rates because it brings up the price of those treasury bonds. If you're buying a lot of something, it raises the price of those treasury bonds, right? And because the price gets higher, it yields less, because it's a net zero game, right? So if they stop buying it, interest rates tend to go up. Now the Federal Reserve can just change interest rates as well. They can literally just go in and change these interest rates. That's another way, but the tapering is an indirect way. So this is less likely to affect inflation than just directly changing. This is like an indirect way of changing monetary policy. Interest rates is a direct way. And when they're tapering, guys, they are still printing money. They're tapering their asset purchases. Their asset purchases is essentially their money printed quantitative easing policy. Tapering, they're still purchasing these assets, right? So they're still printing money. They're just going to be printing a bit less money. So now that we're into that, we can jump into interest rates. We're looking at the iShares 20+ year Treasury bond ETF. And like I mentioned already, if Treasury bond does go up, right, like we're seeing right here, we're seeing it go up, right? That means that the interest rates of behind this bond is coming down. So they're inversely correlated. If the bond goes up, then the yields go down. Boom, boom. For what we want for Bitcoin is we want the yields to go down. And what we have seen over the past week since we got that Omicron news is that the interest rates have actually been going down very significantly, because typically the US government reacts with lower interest rates when we get something like a coronavirus. We've seen it throughout the pandemic. So that is a very, very important thing to be paying attention to. And that's very, very bullish for something like Bitcoin. And this is probably why I am so excited to see where Bitcoin goes and the cryptocurrency market, simply because interest rates are coming down so much. We can also come here and look at the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, because I personally like to invest in altcoins more than I do like to invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And now this is actually waving a little bit of a red flag here on the daily chart, right? We're using Market Cipher here to get an estimate of where exactly this could go. This is a trading software, correct? It got flagged with a blood diamond and a short sell signal, as seen by this red diamond and the red X right there. Now that was yesterday, before we got what happened today on December 4th right here. So you can see that in just a day, right, this thing goes from $950 billion in market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, all the way down to $686 billion, which just shows the risk in cryptocurrency. It shows how much can be liquidated in just a fraction of time. This is truly the Wild West of investing. But at the same time, when we're getting this, right, we're seeing green money flow. We're seeing a negative blue wave. Now, green money flow means that money overall is flowing into this asset. The blue wave suggests that the momentum is on the downside. The buying opportunities are when these blue waves are below zero. You can see over here we have zero in the bottom right corner. The wave currently is below zero, which means that a potential buying opportunity is arising. If we scroll out here to look at this long-term trend, it could be likely that we do see a bit more downside. Now, before this actually does come down, I think that since a lot of people are shorting cryptocurrency right now, the mass liquidations might be coming for the short sellers. So there might be a tiny short squeeze, correct, before it does come down. But the overall trend does appear like it is coming down just a little bit. But guys, keep in mind, we have green money flow, meaning that many buying opportunities could arise. Now, looking at Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin, we're looking at the more of a macro perspective, and then we'll get in Ethereum versus Bitcoin, right? Looking at Bitcoin here on Market Cipher, we have the 2-week chart right here. This printed a little red dot, which means there is bearish disturbance in the bull trend. Obviously, there's bearish disturbance. I mean, we've seen what has been going on the past week. What typically happens here is you guys can see that the last bearish disturbance was right over here, right, in March of 2021. It's kind of hinting that maybe there's going to be a little bit of a blow off the top and a more major correction. And that's what we saw in the middle of 2021. It doesn't mean the bull market is over. Overall, this thing has been still going up, and the bull market continued past where bears said it was over, right? So this isn't huge, but it does mean that this may slow down and it may halt. But overall, it's still in line with the trend. It just, that mass liquidation event that we saw yesterday really kind of just took this thing down a notch, and we're getting that print on the red diamond, which means a slowdown in the bull trend. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, the biggest buying opportunities would be right here in January of 2019, right? Kind of predicted the bottom of the last bull market. It's unlikely that we get something like that in the near future, just because we're looking at a more macro perspective here overall. But once you do get some bearish money flow, right, that's when you really want to consider averaging in this thing for the long term. Right now, it's still very, very bullish. Looking at Ethereum to Bitcoin, this could give us a better judge of how high altcoin season could go, right? So there's obviously back here looking at 2017, in June of 2017, and then January of 2018. This was when altcoins and just cryptocurrency in general was going absolutely ballistic, right? And you can see that Ethereum to Bitcoin actually got up to about 0.12, so 0.12, right? And we're currently sitting at 0.08 for Ethereum to Bitcoin. And this has been trending up ever since about May. So this second leg right here of this like Bitcoin run, not only has Bitcoin really been climbing, but altcoin dominance and Ethereum dominance over Bitcoin has been coming up a little bit there, right? And you guys can see what happened in the past day or so when this whole mass liquidation event happened. Ethereum dominance actually did come up, right? So this has actually been coming up a bit. Less Ethereum was liquidated than Bitcoin, which is a huge bullish sign for altcoins. You can also see, if we just print a little line right here, boom, we have broken out of this resistance point on the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, right? We're broken out and we're above that right now. So this could be another huge thing. It might slow down because when we're looking at this from a perspective right here, it did print a little red dot, which means bearish disturbance there. But overall, it is green money flow into Ethereum over Bitcoin. And I think that is a very, very positive thing. We can pull out to the weekly chart again. Very green money flow. There's no telling where this thing stops. And personally, I'm more bullish on altcoins than Bitcoin. And that's just my personal investment strategy. Now let's get into some of the deals that we can find in the market. So what I'm looking for when I'm looking for deals, you might not want to jump ship right away, like I mentioned in this video. Perhaps this bearish trend does continue. It's I can't actually predict it. It's almost nearly impossible, and by no means am I a professional. So you can look at my technical analysis. You can disagree with it if you want. But what I'm really looking for when I'm trying to find some deals here is I'm trying to look at this 7-day percent gains right here, and I want to see what has the momentum. I'm not looking for Bitcoin necessarily because, like I said, I think there's more gains to be made in altcoins right now. But if you look down here, Terra Luna is a perfect example. This is only down 1% on the day, right? Because Terra Luna has been on an absolute tear. And I think something like Terra Luna, if it could withstand such a correction like this, that could be a huge sign that this will continue to dominate during altcoin season, right? So Terra Luna is definitely one on my radar. Polygon Matic as well. This one surprised me, right? I did not think Polygon would actually end up climbing this much, but it has been on an absolute tear, and it's been doing very, very well, up 24% in the past week. Now it's at a 7% discount in the past 24 hours. You can see most of these are starting to climb back up, looking at that 7-day chart, and you can just scroll down, look for the strongest ones, right? Not too many on this list. I'm not too familiar with this project, not too familiar with Stacks, but not too many on this list. And you guys know that I am focusing on gaming crypto. Here we have Voyager token, Voyager Exchange's token. That could be a good one to look into. Scrolling down here again, Celsius, another one that potentially good. It's actually not down at all in the week or on the day, so that could be a very strong one as well. Moving into the gaming tokens, because I do believe these gaming Metaverse tokens will be a very defining asset class in cryptocurrency for this altcoin season. You can see these things have been absolutely whooped. Decentraland's down 20% on the week. Sandbox down 12%. Gala down 27%. And this could have been predicted to some extent, right? Because these things were absolutely mooning, right? These things were going crazy. So they needed a really big fat butt whooping. But in my personal portfolio got absolutely slaughtered. I had a tiny amount of USDT on the sidelines, right? Ready to buy up these dips. But yeah, no, these got slaughtered and they're making a little bit of a comeback here. But you can do the same thing. Scroll through this. Mobox might be a good one, right? C2Fi Fund is actually up in the past 24 hours right here. This could be a good one to look into. Baby Swap, I'm not too familiar with it. I apologize. Hoge Finance, I don't really know it, but now that I see that it's up on the past week and it's at a very big discount, down 17% in the past day, well, maybe this is one that I want to do some due diligence for, right? It's very, very simple, right? A B Pro network. I don't even talk about these usually when I'm doing my videos, but now you can see the strategy and you can see how these are the ones that are standing out. Sato, another one I have not done my due diligence on. Bad me, right? But now it stands out to me, and now it's worth looking into because this momentum may continue, and now it's at a very big discount, right? And I do think that we're going to continue to get this. Metacoin, another one on the radar now, right? Deep Space, like all of these ones that are up right now, Vibe, are just not ones that I'm too familiar with. So that's awesome. I really like that. So this will provide me with additional due diligence to do. But overall, the gaming cryptos that I'm looking for the biggest deals right now are my highest conviction projects because they are now sitting at a price level that I really find attractive here. Obviously, my highest conviction gaming crypto that has not yet taken off is Ultra UOS, correct? They have a big partnership with AMD. They want to be the Steam of blockchain gaming. They have tons of things in the works that I can't talk about right here. They actually invited me to I think it was to be an alpha tester. I'm not 100% sure, but I just love what Ultra UOS is doing. I really think that they can create an entire metaverse of AAA games within their platform. They can even get into the hardware creating business. This could be literally the backbone of a major metaverse, Ultra UOS, and it has not been listed on any major exchanges yet. I mean, we can go into a new tab right there to see what exchanges this thing is listed on. Let me check right here. Boom. KuCoin, Gate.io, Bitfinex. If this thing gets a Coinbase listing or a Binance listing, it could really just take off, right? Phantasma is another one that I really think is worth snatching up. It's on a 13% dip. It is now down on the week. This thing was running like crazy. Illuvium, not quite in the buy zone yet, around 1,200. That could be an absolute steal, right? UFO down 35% in the past week. Definitely one to keep on your radar. Vulcan Forge, another one that could potentially get a Coinbase listing, right? All of these are fantastic. Yield Guild Games is now at a low, and this thing has been lagging a lot of these other metaverse coins. So Yield Guild Games is one I'm extremely bullish on. C2Fi Fund is, we already talked about it, but I'm also very bullish on this one, right? They do a bunch of seed investments, and all of these coins get you early access to the IDOs. Great project. It is up in the past 24 hours. And it's probably one that's going to continue to run throughout altcoin season. Efinity token, we've talked about this before. Veracity, again, we've talked about this before. D-Race, horse gambling, down 32% in the past week. Definitely one that can be put on your radar, and it's not even up. It has not really gone up yet, so that is definitely one you got to watch out for. I'm going to be focusing on the blue chips right now. There's a lot of hot and spicy ones that have very low market caps, but at the end of the day, we're getting these blue chip projects for a major discount right now, and if you don't already have them on your radar, these are the ones that you want to be looking out for. So at the end of the day, I'm going to be going for those ones. I'm going to wait and see what happens, right? I'm not going to be jumping in on anything right now. See how the momentum plays out, see how the momentum shifts, and with that, I'm going to be buying these juicy dips. So if you guys don't mind dropping that like on the video, if you guys learned something, or if you just enjoyed it in general, always very highly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit that post notification bell down below. that's about it, guys. Those are my cryptocurrencies to buy the dip on right now, as well as an overview of the whole entire macroeconomic climate and why I am just bullish on cryptocurrency in general. I'm very, very bullish. So anyways, guys, drop a like before you guys leave. And if you wanted any of my buy and sell alerts as well, there is the first link below in the description. Also, that trading software Market Cipher that I was using that basically gives buy alerts when something is completely oversold, and it's very, very accurate with its alerts. There's also a link in the description, as well as a 15% off coupon code as well, code HOOT at checkout. So check that out as well. And then there's also a link down there if you wanted to check out Moomoo, which is essentially a stock brokerage, but they're doing a promotion where you can get up to $7,000 in free stock as long as you make an account and deposit $1 on their platform. So that's also definitely worth checking out as well. All of those tools, again, are in the description of this video. I had an amazing time making this video. I will be seeing you guys next time. Buy the dip, baby. See you guys next time. Peace.